Hey guys, it's Joseph from BlackboxMyCar. Well, the Thinkware U3000 is finally here. We've had a ton of pre-orders from you guys, so it's obvious you're all super excited and you can't wait to get your hands on this new dash cam. But for those of you who are still wondering if Thinkware's latest flagship dash cam is a good buy, we're going to go in-depth on it today. Now, before we dive in, I do want to take some time to address one question from Easton Jackson. Is the 2.8mm coaxial cable for the rear camera the same cable as the Blackview DR900 series? My Blackview DR900X died and I'd like to switch to a VOFO, so it'd be really nice to use the same cable and not have to fish a new one. Now, unfortunately, the connector pins of Blackview dashcams are standard coaxial pins, which means they're not compatible with the VOFO A139 Pro, as it supports mini coaxial pins. So if you do want to switch to a VOFO, unfortunately, you can't use any of Blackview's cables. We hope this answered your question, Easton. Now let's move on to the star of the show, the Thinkware U3000. So here it is, guys. This is the Thinkware U3000. This is the much-awaited successor of our Thinkware favorite, the U1000. We voted this the best of the best since 2019. Let's unbox the Thinkware U3000 first. In the box, you're going to find all the standard stuff. Thinkware U3000 front camera, dash cam mount, 12-volt car charger, a trim tool, adhesive cable holder, a free 64GB MicroSD memory card, and then if you have the 2-channel version, a rear camera plus rear camera cable, CPL filter, and an OBD2 power cable. You might be wondering, what? An OBD cable? That's right. Thinkware switched out the standard hardwiring kit with an OBD cable instead. It's got a pretty solid build quality, just like the other Thinkware dash cams, and it looks pretty sleek with smooth matte black finish. Now, compared to the U1000, the front lens area is much bigger, and it's got the radar label beside the lens, which we're going to explain a little bit later. The front lens itself doesn't rotate, but the plate with the lens can be rotated about 60 degrees up and down. Pretty good for the vast majority of vehicles, but it's a bit short for vertical windshield. It's got a new ventilation system underneath. It's got these crossed ventilation grille design for better cooling. Thinkware has replaced the standard hardwiring kit with this cable right here. And it's meant to be a universal fit, and it's going to work with a majority of gas, hybrid, and electric vehicles. So this OBD cable right here, it's fairly easy to install. All you got to do is plug it into your OBD port, which is typically underneath your steering wheel, and then you mount your front camera on your windshield, and then literally run that cable from that OBD port, from your A-pillar across your headliner, directly into your front cam, and you're literally good to go. It brings the same features as hardwiring, but you don't need to connect it to your vehicle's fuse box. Here's the kicker though. If you want to use a dedicated battery pack like the BlackboxMyCar PowerCell 8, you will still have to hardwire it because you can't use it with an OBD cable. A couple of other things I'll point out. Thinkware has included a heat blocking film for direct sunlight protection and a free CPL filter to reduce those glares. One thing we did notice, which left us kind of puzzled, is that it doesn't have a user manual. But that said, the manual is available online, and we're going to include a link to the user manual below this video for your reference too. Similar to the U1000, this one records 4K, 30 frames per second, video resolution for the front camera. The difference is in the details here, as the U3000 uses the latest 8.24 megapixel Sony Starvis 2 IMX 678 image sensor technology. You've probably seen this in other places, but this is the first premium 4K dashcam brand using the Sony Starvis 2 sensor, quite the trendsetter. We're definitely putting a lot of emphasis on this because this is the industry's most advanced image sensor technology that highly improves low light performance and contrast, provides high resolution and clarity, while also lowering the power consumption in parking mode. So the Sony Starvis 2 technology is responsible for Super Night Vision 4.0. We actually went ahead and tested Super Night Vision 4.0, and for me personally, I really like both the daytime and nighttime footage. These upgrades are mainly from the Umbrella H22A77 processor and a DDR3 4GB RAM, So performance-wise, it's a total upgrade from the U1000. In terms of field of view, they've been quite generous with a 158 degrees wide-angle lens, which enables you to see more lanes of the roads ahead. Just a couple of other things, the U3000 also got de-warping technology, so it makes sure that all front footage is recorded with minimal distortion. Let's move on to the rear camera. Now this secondary camera, it doesn't have Sony Starvis 2, but what it does have is 5 megapixel Sony Starvis IMX335. It's got 2K at 30 frames per second, covering 128 degrees. Now check out the rear camera and how it rotates. Now if you look at the side, it's designed in a way that it can only be rotated with a coin slot or with a key, but try not to scratch it. And the rear camera cable itself, it now uses a USB-A type, so it's not compatible with other Thinkware models, in case you were wondering. Now I'm sure some of you guys have noticed, the rear camera itself is quite large. Look how big it is. While still a pretty slim unit itself, it's wider in size due to a built-in radar sensor, something brand new, which we're going to cover in our next section. Something new in regards to security, the U3000 is the first dashcam to have built-in radar sensor. Now in this case, with the U3000, the radar sensor feature is built in right into the unit, not only on the front cam, but also the rear camera as well. What this means is when a person or vehicle is detected in a low power recording situation, the U3000 immediately wakes up and starts recording. This sensitivity can be set to a 1 meter minimum or a 5 meter max. Here's a nifty chart to explain more of how much power this radar sensor consumes for both a single and dual channel system. Now standard to the Thinkware dashcam, you get motion detection, impact detection, time-lapse, and energy saving mode 2.0. So let's dive deeper into energy saving mode 2.0. When you've activated it, it saves a 20-second video clip only after an impact has been detected. Now compare that with the new Thinkware U3000. It can last for 535.7 hours for 22.3 days for one channel, or 489.1 hours or 20.4 days for a 2-channel version. Note that both of these are based on using a 4500 milliamp battery pack. Aside from this, the U3000 also has smart parking mode. This one is designed to protect your vehicle and prevent heat-related damages, similar to that AI heat monitoring feature in the FineView GX1000 that I personally thought was extremely innovative and useful. So if the temperature inside your car becomes too high or too low during parking mode, the U3000 automatically switches to this low power mode. It's only going to record incidents triggered by impacts until the temperature is safe to resume motion detection or time-lapse parking mode. Thinkware has always been at the top of the game when it comes to parking mode, and now when it comes to heat resistance, it shows that their unit are smart enough to maneuver around the temperature, and it really shows how much they care. We haven't had a whole lot of time with this unit, but what we did do when we got the U3000 was we let it sit idle for a couple of days straight, recording. To our surprise, after a couple of days, we found that it only got slightly warmer in temperature. So I think that the heat dissipation on this model is actually doing quite well for its efficiency. But let's talk about Advanced Driver Assistance System, ADAS. This feature has always been more advanced compared to the other dashcam brands that we've worked with. It's got safety camera alert features, so you're gonna get a ton of audio warnings for a whole bunch of things. What we discovered was that the volume of the audio notifications can be adjusted separately. So if you want it louder, specifically for the ADAS and safety camera alerts, you can adjust it separately from the system's notifications volume. So now the U3000, it makes connecting easier because it's got built-in Bluetooth connectivity. What this allows for is similar to, say, the Thinkware Q1000. It's got the same seamless pairing using the Thinkware Dashcam Link app. But what Thinkware has done is they've improved their Bluetooth connection so it alone can be used to perform simple in-app actions like changing settings, overviewing parking mode events, and other basic functions. That said though, Wi-Fi is still needed for certain heavier tasks like streaming that 4K footage to your phone. but the dash cam itself is equipped with 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz dual-band Wi-Fi capabilities. Now, with the new Thinkware Connected that Thinkware introduced with the Q1000, there's been some drastic improvements here. It's highly recommended for fleets, parents of young drivers, and anyone who wants to keep track of their car and driver even when they're away. All you need is a Thinkware Connected account, which is now free to use forever. Let's dive into some of the Thinkware Connected features. So you get the standard impact notification when you're parked and driving. You can send emergency messages, remote live view, vehicle status, and geofencing. There are some recent additions that we thought were particularly interesting, like the ability to monitor live voltage of your vehicle, and also the ability to remotely turn off your camera through the app. A couple other things, you can have a full driving history map too. So it's going to provide you with multiple months worth of driving data if you need it. You're also going to need to have the unit in one of the more standard parking modes, because if you use Energy Saving Mode 2.0 with the radar, it's going to disable the cloud while you're parked to conserve power. And in terms of storing your videos offline on the device, Thinkware included a free 64 gig MicroSD card with every purchase. Now, if you want more storage, it supports up to 256 gigs. So guys, that ends our Thinkware U3000 review. Personally, I think it's a very solid upgrade from the U1000, and it's got everything that you'll ever need while you're driving down a road. You can learn more about the U3000 on our website, but if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, or you can always find us on live chat, give us a call, or shoot us an email. Thanks for watching. We've included all the links in the comments below, and if you're interested in making a purchase of the U3000, you can use exclusive YouTube code BBMC2 at checkout to take 5% off. Support us by smashing that like and subscribe button on your way out. Thanks.